And a sunny, beautiful day here at East Side Sports Complex here in East Peoria. 72 degrees and a incredible Mid-Illini baseball matchup in store for us today. My name's Caden Sexton. Alongside me, Rodrigo Perez and Joshua Messenger. Rodrigo and Josh, not only is this game going to have an impact on Morton and on East Peoria in the Mid-Illini, but it's going to have an impact on every team as we only have 3 weeks left of the season.
The whole Mid-Illini has just been electric this season. It always is. It's a very competitive conference. But this season, especially with Dunlap and Washington just playing some of their best baseball these couple months, it's just been incredible.
Yeah, we were talking to the coaches a little bit earlier, Rodrigo, and one thing that they both pointed out is how deep this conference is, top to bottom. So the fact that both of these teams have been able to have such a great season and be on top late really means something. It's really important to each of these teams. Both are treating this as important as the playoffs, they said just a couple minutes ago. So this is high-stakes baseball, and you'll love to see it in early May.
Well, not only are they treating it like the playoffs, it's kind of a preparation game for the playoffs. Not only does this game propel and dramatically change their playoff seeding, but with two such teams with such skill on both sides of the diamond, you're going to have a playoff-like matchup, and that's just going to give you some experience, especially going into the last couple weeks. You know, one thing that East Peoria's head coach Matt Plummer did tell us is his season is not easy by any chance, but after they play Morton tonight, they play only bottom half of Mid-Illini teams the rest of the way, while Morton has to go and play Dunlap 2 times next week.
This whole month, Caden, has just been insane for East Peoria. Facing Dunlap, Washington, those teams who are on top of the Mid-Illini, and East Peoria's just tried to do the best they can with what they've had, and I think they've done a pretty good job. This is a pretty good test right here.
Yeah, and again, East Peoria after this game is really, you would think, would be on a downhill slope. They're obviously not counting any of these remaining games out by any means because, like we were talking about, Mid-Illini Conference is so strong. But East Peoria feels like if they can get away with a win today, they're in an excellent position to bump up to second, maybe even first, as this regular season kind of draws to a close. So huge game for them. They're looking for a win. Same deal with Morton. They're thinking win today. Obviously, they got a couple tough matchups down the line, but they're thinking win today, and they're in an excellent position moving forward.
Yeah, one thing that Plummer told us is, you know, if East Peoria happens to fall in tonight's matchup, it's not like a team hasn't won the Mid-Illini before with 4 losses. However, that would be a very hard hill to climb.
You mentioned talking about like this being a playoff matchup, and it really is. Last year, East Peoria and Morton both faced off in the regional championship, which East Peoria lost. So they're going to have a lot of motivation to get a good piece out of Morton today.
Yeah, despite East Peoria finishing in second place last year as Morton finished towards the bottom of the conference, I'm sorry, only in third. My apologies. But it was a little bit of a gap between the two of them in the Mid-Illini standings, even though it was second and third. However, in the playoffs, it didn't matter, and Morton was able to come away and end East Peoria's season. That's definitely something the Raiders haven't forgotten.
Not to mention Monday's game as well. There's a ton of stakes here. If you weren't with us then, Morton wins 10-0 in quite the blowout. So East Peoria is certainly looking to get the better side of things tonight.
A 5-inning game that just ended, probably East Peoria trying to hold some of their cards out, not showing Morton everything they got, and reserving it for this game right here.
Right, because, I mean, both these teams know the weapons that each side has. I mean, when we were talking with Morton's head coach, Jesse Crawford, he told us his son, Cam, has played with half the guys in the East Peoria dugout. They know them from when they were kids. They've grown up playing with each other, against each other, but at the same time, not Coach Plummer's mentality is don't show how he's going to use his weapons, don't show how he's going to attack, and instead utilize that today at home.
Yeah, it's two teams that have a lot of proximity between each other. It's, you know, East Peoria, Dunlap, not too far off. So you got a lot of guys who played with each other back in, travel ball, when they were young, just playing in the park and stuff like that. You got a lot of that going on tonight, and it's a little bit extra motivation. You want to beat the guys you used to play with and used to beat all the time.
These two schools are so close that last week Morton played on this very field here at the Eastside Center because their field was flooded. So, like you said, it's just so close. There's so many connections here between these two teams, and the stakes are so high. That's why I love it. Late April baseball. It's May.
It's May
now.
1st.
It's
Yeah.
May 1st. May 1st baseball. Love it.
I know what I'm getting you for Christmas, Josh, a calendar.
I think when we saw Josh's calendar, it was last year's. Or is that your calendar, Rodrigo? Which one of you two has the calendar that's a year old?
Okay. It was a little old. I did get a new one. It's a Star Wars one, actually.
Ooh.
You know, May 4th coming up.
I was
That
about
is
to
in
say.
3 days.
Yeah, it's coming up.
My mom got me a May 4th T-shirt in the mail today, so
Very
we're ready.
nice.
We're ready in the Sexton household for Star Wars Day.
You're
Well-
actually calling a game that day. Bradley baseball, right?
I am. I'll be the play-by-play commentator for Bradley against UIC that game. It should be a very fun one there, as Bradley is trying to keep their playoff hopes alive. UIC coming in to try and retain their spot and try and get a bye, as it looks like the two teams are getting ready for the national anthem. We will step aside real fast and after the national anthem, resume with the first pitch. You're watching Clutch Sports Media. Welcome back to East Peoria as we are getting set and ready for tonight's matchup. East Peoria, the home team, will take the field, and to the mound will be, it will be R.J. Duncan. R.J. Duncan, for those of you who did not know, is nominated for Clutch Sports Media Player of the Week for last week. You can go on CSM and go vote for that. Voting does end in an hour, so if you want to get your vote in for R.J., you have to do it soon.
It was a real tough week this week, Caden and Josh. I certainly had a little trouble. I usually try to, keep in touch with everything happening in the Mid-Illini, and you can do that too. Just head over to Clutch Sports Media and vote.
Batting number 9, number 16, Owen Adams.
Looks like it's Spangler who's up for it, excuse me.
Morton Potters are coached by Jesse Crawford.
I think R.J. Duncan is up for
sorry.
Player of the Week for East Peoria.
Duncan won it for his school. That is my mistake.
Yep.
Duncan also did win CSM Player of the Week earlier on this season. Got my notes mixed up a little bit there. Apologize.
Oh, we've seen plenty of Dunlap Eagles, East Peoria Raiders win awards so far this season, and they're going to keep doing it. They're two very high-power, high-profile teams, and, as well as everyone else, I just can't wait for this one to get started.
R.J. Duncan so far this season has a 4-2 record. The sophomore has a 1.4 ERA throughout his 9 appearances, collecting 2 saves. Something that Coach Matt Plummer kind of talked to us about is he is the typical Wednesday starting guy, but as apparent to his stats, he also has the lowest ERA and is the guy that they rely on late to kind of close things out. If you look at Morton, things will get started off with Andrew Brooks, the center fielder. He went 0 for 2 in Monday's matchup between these two teams. Would like to kind of turn the tide tonight as this one is underway. First pitch, Swung on and missed for strike one.
Weather-wise, we're looking at an absolutely gorgeous evening, boys. It's about 70 degrees and absolutely no wind to speak of, so it's absolutely pristine baseball conditions.
That one fouled away over the netting to our right. That'll make it an 0-2 count for Brooks.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned the wind, Josh, because usually when we're at these centers, sports complex, we see a lot of wind, but it's not the case here at least.
Again, fouling. Brooks trying to stay alive here, keeping the count at 0-2. Here comes the 0-2 pitch. Fouled up. This one's going to stay in play. RJ Duncan underneath it and gets the catch for out number one.
Easy does it for Duncan. Nice little ball right there. That's what you want. That's how you want to get started. Just a nice little pop-up, and there's your first out.
Both coaches kind of seem to imply that the key to the game was getting out number one. If you can get that first out, then you really eliminate a lot of options for the team that's at bat to really put some more on base and potentially score a couple runs. So that first out, they said, was huge.
Of course, as that one gets fouled on for Tyler Pippin. Pippin 1 for 1 in Monday's matchup with an RBI and 2 walks, getting on base in all 3 of his at-bats. As he takes that one low to even the count.
We haven't really talked about it, but those baby blue Morton jerseys are really nice.
Josh, your fashion opinion as that one's fouled away?
They certainly, I mean, I'm a Philadelphia guy, so certainly they remind me of that, and I love them for that reason. But also Peoria Chiefs, very reminiscent of that right here in town. So a couple of good uniform options here that they're similar to.
This one hit hard into left field, tracking it, however, and caught from Hahn for out number 2.
Those are always tough to get, especially since you got the sun just glaring down at you. We're covered right here. Most of the stands, the grandstands are covered right here, but the guys in the outfield, those guys are not covered at all.
Yeah. Brandon Sieben up next for the Potters. He has the highest batting average on the team, hitting .404 this season. And 19 games. He swings on and misses that one for strike one. Monday's matchup against the Raiders, he went 1 for 2 with an RBI double as well as picking up a walk. This one hit hard, going back in center field, and it is caught for out number 3.
Good outing for Duncan so far. We haven't seen too much balls from out of him, but a couple strikes and a couple fly outs. That's exactly what East Peoria wants in this first inning.
Well, Ryan Hartwell, the man who just made the catch out in center, Dave Hartwell will get things started for the Raiders. The ICC commit went 0 for 2 on Monday. However, so far this season, Hartwell hitting .327. One of the seniors in the lineup. You know, the top of the lineup for the Raiders, a lot of seniors, a lot of juniors. The bottom half is when you get into your sophomores, when you get into your freshmen. However, the talent doesn't go away the farther down you go.
No, not at all, especially for the East Peoria side, who was able to bring back a lot of their all Mid-Illini team players, and Hartwell being one of them. Hartwell is actually kind of the spark plug in this team. ICC commit, as you mentioned. He led the Raiders offense in football last season, so he's got a little bit of that leadership aspect, a little bit of that brutality, just running through a wall. He'll do anything for you. Adds that toughness and speed overall to his game.
On the mound for the Potters this evening is Tanner Spangler. Spangler, the Heartland College commit, has pitched 4 games this season, averaging pitching in 19.1 innings, allowing 4 runs. 2 of those have been earned with 30 strikeouts, 4 walks, accumulating a .72 ERA. I would say lowest ERA on the team. However, that .72 is tied with Ryan Schnaft, who pitched a near perfect game on Monday and who also has a .72 ERA through more innings.
Yeah, Morton's got such a powerful bullpen and a lot of guys that they can rely on, which is important at this point of the season. We're starting to get into those final couple games. There's about 8-10 games each for each team, and it's going to start being important for those guys who maybe aren't starters to start stepping up a little bit.
Hartwell versus Spangler. Hartwell takes strike one.
So one thing I'm looking for right here is East Peoria was able to get a really quick first out. Let's see if Morton can do the exact same and keep pace.
Well, it looks that way as Spangler's delivered 2 strikes. And hard hit ball.
Pitching fast to start out the gate.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing that we're seeing in high school baseball now is these pitchers, they're just pitching real fast balls, and that's what gets you into college, gets you into the big leagues.
This one's popped up. Second baseman underneath it and making the catch for out number 1.
And that's exactly what I wanted to see out of Morton, is responding right to Peoria, East Peoria, by doing the exact same thing. Quick first out, hoping to go 1-2-3 here early, keep pace. As we saw Monday, it was super lopsided. So obviously East Peoria trying to get the advantage. Unlike Monday, Morton trying to keep things status quo.
That one was a nice pitch, but it's going to be called ball 1. A lot of fans from both sides here at Eastside Sports Complex, guys.
It's not too bad of a drive, so that's probably one of the reasons why we're seeing a little bit of that.
Another pop-up, this time caught by the shortstop, Owen Adams, for out number 2.
Now batting, number 8, R.J. Duncan.
Adams could call him the hero in Monday's game, although it was a team effort, but Adams only player with 2 hits in that 10-0 victory. It really was a team victory on Monday for Morton. That one's fouled. Hit very hard by Duncan, but hard foul.
He's in a pretty tricky spot here. Spangler's in a great spot. 2 outs right off the bat, less than 10 pitches overall. This is exactly what the Morton pitcher is going for.
As that one swung on and missed for strike 2. Duncan so far this season, 377 hitter. One of the top batting averages of the Raiders. As this one hit hard, and it's going to get in the gap for a single for Duncan. We got our first hit of the ballgame, boys.
Yeah, you kind of saw Spangler trying to get that ball, kind of hesitating a little bit, but that was a really good hit right there for the first hit of the game.
You know, one thing Matt Plummer told us is Duncan has been the 4-hole this entire season with Sanowski hitting at the 3. Tonight, he's decided to flip him. It's not too much of a switch. However, he felt more comfortable having Duncan getting the extra at-bat over Sanowski after Monday's game. That one's outside and away for ball 1. Sosnowski in the DH spot tonight. He was the starting pitcher on Monday. Sosnowski hitting .414 this season, so having one of the best seasons on the team. However, just moving down one step.
Something that we haven't really talked about much about East Peoria has been just how many impactful starters they lost for this season.
This one's hit hard and going to be a gapper as well. And the courtesy runner over there at second, don't have his number on our records. It's Jimmy Hall, who was a courtesy runner for Duncan, as Duncan is the pitcher, was able to get over to second. As that's another single, advancing the runner and keeping the inning alive at the very least.
Well, we said the key was to get the first out. They got the first out, but when you can't quell the bats after an out or two, then that still could spell trouble for you. They still only need 1, so they have a lot of options here to take care of business, but certainly a tricky spot early.
Yeah, younger brother Owen Hidden now up for the Raiders. Landon hit in the second spot this inning. Owen hits down here at the 5. Counts even at 1.
Only by my count 3 balls thrown by Spangler. through this entire inning to date, through about 12 or 13 pitches.
You are correct.
It's a pretty good ratio, but obviously he hung a couple of them.
His work rate earlier was really fast. He started to slow down a little bit now that he's gotten a couple pitches in. We'll see how he continues throwing, though.
Yeah, he really wanted to attack early on, and now he's kind of taking a more calm approach. He has, I mean, when you have runners on first and second, you need to be calm out there. You can't be frantic because any little mistake could cost you a run now with somebody in scoring position. And it looks like the catcher is going to go out there and talk to him. That's Lovell. Is going to just go and have a nice conversation with his pitcher, calm him down a little bit. I mean, he started this inning off with 2 outs. Now he's got runners on first and second, and in a 2-1 count.
You're trying to calm down your pitcher, Josh. What are some of the things you would say?
This ball soft to the shortstop. Throw is in time to get out number 3 and end the inning.
I would say do that. What he just did was just about perfect. Forced a ground ball, nice throw to first, perfect execution all the way around. And an excellent job of keeping his composure right there from Spangler. And even put in a little bit of a tricky spot. He's able to calmly deliver, and well, we're on to the second.
You know, one thing we haven't talked about yet is both of these pitchers are hitting. The DH for East Peoria being used on right fielder Joe Clark, and the DH for Morton is being used on A.J. Davis, the first baseman. Not something you see too often, Rodrigo.
Yeah, you see that certain coaches have their mentality with, and their, you know, whether they like to actually use their pitcher, let them hit. Some coaches like doing that, others don't. It's always interesting when two programs that actually do like using that DH spot come together and face each other. It brings a interesting facet to the game, at least.
A little bit of a look at the crowd right there on your screen. We haven't touched on that, but there is a large number of people here today.
Pretty much surrounded, yeah.
Yeah, and both coaches, we were even mentioning that the players in this game were really feeling the pressure. Like, the atmosphere is a lot bigger than kind of your average high school game. A lot of other like league games going on here at the Eastside Sports Complex. So a big crowd, as you saw our camera get a good look at it there. Stressful.
Yeah, once one of the Little League games comes out, I'm sure there's a couple of Little Leaguers here also watching.
Cale Booker getting things started. He is in the DH spot tonight as he swings through strike 1. Booker, though, seasoned through 19 games, earning a .357 batting average with 12 RBIs. He's going to even the count there, 1 apiece.
Saw some good work by Duncan in the first inning. I'll be curious to see if he can repeat that right here as we get further down the batting lineup.
That was a nice pitch, making it 1-2. Booker went 1 for 3 on Monday. And that was outside, evening the count at 2.
Real fast first inning.
It's true, even with a couple of base runners, still some good quick work by these pitchers early.
Yeah, both of them definitely don't need a pitch clock per se. Here comes the 2-2, and it's fouled straight back. Makes our microphone move off on the net there.
You know what? I've been thinking that this whole game. Is that mic going to get hit or not?
That might be the closest it gets, or just a sign that it's going to get a lot of action.
Well, y'all will hear it on the broadcast one way or another. There'll be a pretty loud thump.
Oh, yeah.
Well, Cal Booker has fought his way to a full count here for the Potters. It'll be interesting to see how R.J. Duncan attacks his full count pitch.
First full count of the game.
And you can hear Morton's bench electric, and he's going to put one in between the gap on the right-hand side of your infield to get a nice single.
It's a quality at-bat right there. Get a lot of pitches, rack the count up to full, and then deliver with a nice single here and no outs. Remember, a key to the game, first outs matter. No outs on the board here, runner on.
When we talked with East Peoria's head coach Matt Plummer, he kind of told us that this is kind of the scariest spot in the order, the 5 spot with Riemann. How definitely one of the most underrated hitters on the Morton team, and somebody who on any given night can just end your night. Attempt made at first, however, Booker able to get back in time.
Keep him in check there.
Yeah. Nolan Riemann, 1 for 3 with 2 RBIs off of a triple Monday. So he's going to hit this one to center. Looks like Hartwell's going to get underneath it, though, for out number 1.
Something else interesting to note here is that the sun is already behind the clouds back there. Not quite below the horizon, but it's behind the clouds, and the clouds are going to keep coming before the horizon. So the sun's not going to be an issue for your defense.
Oh, not at all. We got a little bit of that sun in that first inning. Now we got no sun. So this is like optimal playing position conditions for the outfielders and even the batters. You also don't want the sun in your eyes when you're a batter either, but we should see a good outings from both teams now.
Another attempt over at first, once again safe. Hudson Lovell is up to the plate. He went 2 for 3 with an RBI on Monday. Now sitting at a 1-0 count. That one fouled straight back for the tie of the count of 1 apiece. I can now see, Josh and Rodrigo, why there's so much netting everywhere here at Eastside Sports Complex. I mean, obviously when you're at a baseball field, you have to be very careful. However, the netting right behind home plate a little bit low, and that's what's causing the overhead net to be really useful and something that you kind of need here.
Yeah, you know, I thought it was a little strange when I first got here. This is my first time at Eastside Sports Center, so it's interesting. I'm kind of glad they have it, though.
3-1 count for Lovell. Josh, you've been to Eastside Sports Complex more than any of us. What are your take on the facilities?
I love it. I think Eastside, East Peoria, kind of the town has done a great job here. Really, as we see another pickoff attempt there, he's safe. But yeah, you got 4 fields going on here simultaneously, so you can host 4 games. This field is obviously turf, the others being grass. There's a couple softball fields in the complex. Good stuff overall.
This one's popped up in foul territory, but it's going to stay in the field of play, and the first baseman is able to make the catch. That's Augie Loans for out number 2.
And another super interesting thing about Eastside in particular is that when you do get those pop-up fouls that go straight back on the netting, they actually have to bring out a pole contraption, and you obviously can't see on our broadcast, but there are little holes in this net right here that they have to guide the ball to with the poles to get them to drop through. It's super interesting, but it's a really well-oiled machine overall.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun to watch, which that's not really what you sign up for when you come to a ball game, but it's one of the perks of coming here.
A lot of people buying in. Big crowd tonight.
It'll be Colin Burns to the plate now, who takes strike 1 to even the count. Burns 1 for 1 with a walk on Monday. And, you know, that was something that I talked with Coach Jesse Crawford of Morton about is, well, this is a turf field. You're playing over in grass and in dirt at Morton. Does that impact the team? And Crawford said no. These guys played at the doubleheader here on Saturday. Another pickoff attempt made at first as I'm talking. Definitely trying to keep that runner at bay. But as I was saying, they played here on Saturday. They try and make every game happen, rain out or not, by coming to this complex. And a lot of their guys over the summer are playing on turf fields. So not really a challenge per se, other than
the way he talked, it almost seemed like he preferred it to his
Yeah.
home field, and definitely over other away grass fields for sure.
Definitely.
Yeah, you also got to take a look at just how difficult it is to maintain a good grass field opposed to turf, which is a little easier to take care of. And yeah, I could see these guys play on turf all the time. So
Hit hard into center, but Hartwell's going to get underneath it and make the grab for out number 3.
Excellent job by Duncan. Retaining his composure, big crowds and all, was able to kind of reel it in and not allow that first base runner of the game for Morton to really be a distraction in any sort of way. He made sure to keep him close to first in case anything happened. Really nice job with those multiple pickoff attempts, and East Peoria is hanging in there, still knotted up at 0.
Yeah, a little bit of short-term memory, just trying to not let that first at-bat mess you up. Just keep going. You have your game plan. Just keep going and keep executing.
Well, it'll be a dangerous start for the Raiders as ICC commit Ethan Krutke will be the first one to face Spangler this inning. Krutke so far this season hitting .322, and somebody you just don't want to mess with on any given night.
Not at all. Krutke just brings a lot of experience. He's a guy who's seen varsity play since he got there with East Peoria. So he's a guy, like you said, really dangerous. He can make damage. We'll see how Spangler tries to contain him.
Coach Plummer's really high on Krutke. He was one of the players that he specifically shouted out when we were talking with him pregame. Very high on this young man, does some great work, and said he was maybe a little underrated, a little bit low in the batting order, but Morton is not underrating him by any means. They're prepared, but it might be trouble that he's leading off for the Potters.
Yeah, Krutke, one of 2 players to get a hit for the Raiders the last time they played Morton on Monday. I mean, when you only have 2 players that get a hit, those are the only 2 that Coach Jesse Crawford's going to talk about in practice the upcoming week. And it's not to say that the rest of the team isn't a threat. It's the fact that you shut down everybody but these 2. That means these 2 are going to do extra damage right here. That was some nice movement on that curve, and it's strike 1. And that's kind of something that we did hear from Jesse Crawford is he believes that Morton, or that the mindset of East Peoria is ready for fastball, be ready for fastball, and that's how they were able to get Morton was able to get the win on Monday, was they were able to utilize the off speed. And tonight, I mean, Spangler's coming out and he's using his movement more than he's using his heat.
Yeah, I love to see that in a pitcher, to use that movement a bit more, because usually with pitchers, it's all about speed. It's all about velocity. But I love when you're able to work a little magic around the ball, around the strike zone, and get those outs.
Foul ball, and that one
There's
knocks
that
down the microphone.
There goes the mic. It was bound to happen.
I mean, that one didn't even hit the microphone. It hit probably halfway up the net and just off of the contact knocked our mic down. That ball outside to even the count at 2.
It was a risky venture on our part. We'll admit that.
Well, Josh, you are the one that decided
it was a
to
risky
make
venture
that.
on my part.
Yeah,
that
let's not say us.
All
let's
right.
say Josh. As swing and a miss for strike 3. First strikeout of the evening goes against Krutke.
Now batting, number 34, Augie Loans.
Augie Loans.
We got our audio technician, Michael, working on getting that mic set up again.
And Michael has it for now, but Michael shouldn't go far as it'll probably fall 1 or 2 more times this afternoon or this evening.
I'd bet on that.
Augie Loans went 0 for 2 on Monday. Would like to get some payback here and strike early for the Raiders. Another outside pitch. You know, one faulty of the movement is if you're patient, you'll typically be able to work your way out of a jam. And two balls have just trailed too far outside, and that's number 3. That one was a heater, though. 3 balls are just completely outside.
It's a little bit of what we were seeing that first inning, just real fast pitches early on, really not letting Augie Loans breathe here.
But conversely, as opposed to throwing a lot of strikes in that first inning, we see Spangler throwing a couple balls here out of the gate.
This one's hit hard into right field. However, easily handled by A.J. Davis for out number 2. And now to the plate, a guy that, the second guy besides Drew Krutke that Matt Plummer could not stop talking about, Zach Hahn. Zach Hahn is a junior, and he has not gotten as much appearances at Plummer as Plummer would like to see. You know, Plummer kind of talked with Clutch Sports Media earlier on in the season, following the 7-game win streak that the Raiders had to start the year, about how talented this bench is and how he's never coached a team that has more firepower. But one of the names that just hasn't been able to get some time because a junior and because he's a catcher is Zach Hahn. However, he's got him in today out in left. This ball hit hard into left field. It's foul, though. That'll make this a 2-1 count.
Yeah, you mentioned a couple of those Raiders on this team. There's a lot of really good seniors, but there's also a lot of really good juniors. And Hahn is one of them.
2-1 pitch, another trailing outside, making it a 3-1 count. Fouled away. We're going to have another full count here. It'll be the first full count of the day for Spangler. Full count pitch, hard hit grounder, stolen by third baseman. Throw across the diamond is made by Riemann for out number 3.
Good defense right there by the shortstop. Was able to hit that right in stride, able to pick it up and sling it on to first. That's about as textbook as you can get for a high school play to be made.
Well,
and good work to stay even.
Yeah,
0-0.
and that was the interesting thing about the play, though, Josh, is you just said it wrong. It was the third baseman. He ran all the way over, jumped in front of the shortstop, picked it up, and threw it across the diamond. I mean, when you look at a play like that, you kind of expect shortstop, easy ground ball to him, make the play. Instead, Riemann trying to show that he is a veteran on this team and he's one of the captains, and just try and put some momentum as you're going to go and hit.
That was like the Mandela effect right there. As I saw it, I processed it. But just repeating back, you know, it was so much like a shortstop play, like you said, that my mind filled in the blank, and I thought.
And, you know, maybe Riemann gets some shortstop action for this group, and that's why he was able to make the play so successfully. But
definitely shows you the confidence in this team, fielding-wise. They got a lot of confidence behind their bats, but fielding, they can do a little damage there as well.
So still a 0-0 game, which at this point on Monday, same kind of deal. Super close early before Morton finally pulled away. And it's going to come down to, I think, whoever deals the first blow here. And I'm curious to see if this is Morton's time to shine on this half inning, because we're going to run back up to the top of the lineup here. These next couple batters coming up here have seen Dungeon before, so they'll be able to evaluate his stuff a little bit better.
Well, Dungeon's thrown 2 balls here to Spangler. Spangler, somebody that, you know, Matt Plummer kind of talked about, is he's sitting in the 8-hole because he has not had much success as of late. However, he's not somebody who should be sitting in the 8-hole, as he knocks a single right there and is a very powerful and strong hitter.
Perfectly placed ball right there. You don't always need to go for a lot of power. That wasn't a very powerful hit, but it just got past the third baseman right there for Morton's first, not the first hit, but their first hit of the inning at least.
And another hit with 0 outs, no less. We saw Dungeon able to work out of a jam last inning, but you keep allowing players on base before you even register an out. And can be tough sledding.
Owen Adams puts down bunt and is able to make contact, however, it gets tipped back. The 9-hole shortstop was able to put up a 2-for-2 performance on Monday with an RBI.
Yeah, you don't see too many bunts anymore.
It depends what kind of program it is, though.
That's true as well.
Another check over at first. RJ Dungeon in this Raider team does not want any threats on the bases. You know, even when you look look over at the game on Monday, only one stolen base between both sides, and it was by East Peoria. And that's because Matt Plummer kind of talked to us about how nobody runs on Krutke. Yet they're trying to check him over at every runner at first, every pitch.
A little bit of a gamble, honestly. Thrown over to first so many times. Obviously, you want to throw it a couple times here and there to make sure that the runner stays close. But you keep firing over to first, and eventually it'll get away, right? You can't be perfect 10 times out of 10. So definitely a little bit of a gamble, but it's working out so far. It only takes one mistake for it not to work out.
Hard hit right up the middle, and shortstop is able to get over there, but the ball is dropped by the second baseman. That'll be an error that gets 2 runners on with no outs.
Real tough play. It looked like East Peoria kind of hesitated a little bit as he was throwing to the second baseman.
Well, after Adams gets on the E4, we will see the top of the lineup with Brooks back up for the Potters.
One of the things that the coaches were talking about also is the power of that 9-hitter. If you can get kind of segue a good hit from the 9-hitter into the top of the order, then that could be absolutely deadly. And we could see this game get blown a little bit open here.
Another bunt by the 1-hole, who puts it down successfully. Throw over is in time, barely for the out. I want to mention really fast that Brooks, one of the biggest speed threats in the Mid-Illini, has 7 stolen bases this season and almost legged out a bunt there. However, he is out despite getting out. However, runners will advance to second and third.
Yeah, like Josh was mentioning, now you got 2 guys in scoring position. Perfect opportunity for a guy like Pippin to just open this game up.
Yeah, Pippin, first at bat, flew out to left field. This time, if he flies out to left, he should bring one home. He got a piece of that one, but it goes right back into the glove of Krutke for strike 1.
You could tell he felt confident about reading Duncan right there because he absolutely took a swing at that one and didn't miss it by much.
And a throw down there by Krutke. And he gets him out. The catcher with the pickoff move, and that's Krutke's arm that Plummer warned us about.
And that's the kind of play that changes games, to be perfectly frank with you. This is it was a dangerous situation, second, third, 1 out. All of a sudden, only a runner on second and 2 outs in the game. Next pitch potentially could be inning over when we were looking at potentially a couple runs scored.
Some nice movement on that pitch for Duncan. Gets strike 2, so scene changing very quickly here. Runners on second with 2 outs for Pippin on the 0-2 pitch. He takes ball 1 high.
And so this is the moment where if you're Duncan, take a deep breath, settle down, you're good. All that tense situation just got flipped around, and you're just looking for a quality out here.
This ball's hit hard. It's foul, but is it going to stay in play? And no, it goes slightly over the fence. So count will remain at 2 with Pippin still at the plate.
Yeah, I love the commitment by Hahn in the left field to kind of try to grab that ball. It was a little too far off. He would have had to done a little diving, a little Olympic diving to grab it. But, you know, little jump in the fences a little bit.
Yeah. Tyler Pippin, definitely a power threat for Morton. He leads the team with 2 home runs. That one low, and it'll be a full count. And last time we had a full count, the Morton bench was all clapping, and they are going to start the clapping again, trying to get in R.J. Duncan's head on the full count pitch here. Here comes. Called strike 3, and on the drop third, Krutke's able to tap him out. Well, the clapping didn't distract him too much, and East Peoria doesn't allow any damage.
That was that was a great opportunity for Morton to do some damage on the board. They couldn't do it this inning, but if they get another one, they might be able to do some damage.
Excellent composure right there by Duncan, absolutely. Was able to stand in there, was able to calm himself down, and now we're still even, headed into the bottom of the 3rd inning.
You know, when you look at these 2 teams, yes, a lot of players are experienced, but talk about the experience amongst the two coaches. I mean, East Peoria's Matt Plummer has 30 seasons of coaching under his belt. Jesse Crawford picking up his 300th career win in high school coaching on Saturday. I mean, both these guys definitely have a resume.
Yeah, they're two coaches with a lot of history. They both know each other pretty well as well, which just makes this matchup even more significant to both of them. They don't want to lose one, and this is one of them that they definitely don't want to lose.
And what's more is that both of these coaches have been around the Mid-Illini Conference for a really long time as well.
Oh, yeah. I mean, they were chatting pregame like they were best friends who just lived down the street from each other.
For all we know, they might.
I mean, they
Morton
could.
and East Peoria are so close anyway that
Right.
the city limits are pretty hard to distinguish between the two towns.
I mean, the Mid-Illini is kind of like a family at this point, where they all are so knit, so close to each other, especially when you play each other so often. I mean, everybody's on a first-name basis. Everybody knows everything about each other, and that's ball one low for Aaron's. Some quick work here from Spangler. Gets the 2-1 count.
He really
Looks
likes
like-
to start each inning dealing pretty fast, doesn't he?
3-1 count. Spangler working very quickly this inning, and that is a walk. Pitch way too far outside. And great eye there by Aarons. Brings the top of the order up. And you know, Josh, something you talked about is needing to make the first out. How about allowing the first runner on with a walk?
That is the complete opposite of what you want to do. When it comes to high school ball, a very fundamental part of the game is limiting walks and limiting errors. And so the more you rack those up, the lower your chances of winning the game are. Obviously, one walk, not a big deal, but it could turn into more.
Blooper there, however, it is able to advance the runner. Hartwell is out on the just little drooper there from, thanks to Lovell's arm. That is out number one as Aarons moves over to second.
Landon hitting.
Ball inside there, but called strike.
Where do we plug this in? Since we only have. I don't need it. Okay, cool.
Some nice movement there. However, Spangler, another ball, making the count 1-1, and not as aggressive this inning as he's been in others. He's trying to get more chases, and the Raiders are coming up with some patient eyes. 1-1 pitch. Called strike two.
Couple of pitches that could go either way right there back to back. Spangler's definitely dotting the edge more and more as this game progresses.
One, two, and a swing and a miss on the movement. On the pitch, Aarons is able to steal third, so it comes at a cost. Nice strikeout there from Spangler, getting 2 outs. However, now with 2 outs, runner in prime position for the 3-hole RJ Dungeon, who already has a single so far in this afternoon.
Yeah, Dungeon's been doing some damage early on. We'll see if he can continue that with this at bat. Already got someone in third base, so.
And that is called foul. That one was close, guys.
It was a nice hit ball, hugging that side of the line. It just went out. So, yeah, it was a close one.
But the key thing you said a moment ago is that we're out 2 outs here, so they can have a little bit of solace in the fact that many different types of play can result in ending this inning, even though they got a runner on third. But that margin for error is definitely a lot smaller than it was before.
Just got to step on first is the saying, but a little bit harder with a dangerous hitter like R.J. Dungeon to the plate. So counts even at 1.
Sun is now completely below the horizon, so it did pop back out for a second, but we're in full shade for the rest of the game.
That is a swing and a miss. That was some nice slider there from Spangler. It's a pitcher v. pitcher duel here that could very much turn the tide. Comes the 1-2, hit hard to second, and it gets under the glove, or over the glove, however you want to phrase it. However, that's an RBI single for Dungeon, and East Peoria is able to break the game open here in the bottom of the 3rd.
Exactly what he was able to do earlier in the game, Dungeon at bat. Was able to put it in play, but this time he makes Morton pay because they had that runner on third. So yeah, 2 outs, but any good play like you just saw from Dungeon is able to score, and East Peoria's got the advantage. They did not have that at all on Monday. Different ball game.
Yeah, 10-0 game on Monday. Now, completely different with 1-0 here in the bottom of the 3rd. Sosnowski takes ball 1 against Spangler, trying to get somebody to chase at his stuff. Sosnowski, however, was able to make contact with him and get a single earlier on in the 1st. Hard hit ball, and it's over the head of the shortstop, and runners will be at 1st and 2nd.
Perfectly placed ball. No Potters were there to receive it. And now, got a guy on ready to score another one and another single.
It'll be Owen Hidden, the younger brother for the Raiders. Last time we were in a similar situation where Hidden in the 1st inning came up with 2 outs and runners on 1st and 2nd. In that inning, he grounded out to short. We'll see. We'll have to see if anything changes here. Hard hit ball, and it is going to be nice tap on second for out number 3. Morton allows 1, but then diffuses the situation.
Could have definitely been a lot worse than it was, but obviously you're giving East Peoria the lead. You're giving East Peoria quite the advantage moving forward. Morton's going to have to play some pretty good defense right here if they want to keep it to only a 1-score game. But great job. That being said, to only keep it a 1-score game, because you let that game get away from you, like East Peoria let the game get away from them on Monday, then all of a sudden we're talking a much different ball game here. So if you're Morton coming up to bat, got to be thinking the same exact scenario as before. You're just looking to get stuff on the board. Put the ball in play.
Yeah, there was a bit of a fire developing there in that inning, but the Morton Potters brought their fire extinguishers and they were able to extinguish it, only allowing 1 run. Certainly a lot better heading into this one for East Peoria, and we'll see how East Peoria responds.
To get a nice look at that pole right there, that looked pretty fantastic. But Eastside Center, obviously home to a lot of East Peoria athletics. You saw the football stadium there in the background. A pretty nice complex like we were talking about earlier, and obviously drawing a lot of fans, as you just saw.
Yeah, a very busy complex as well. And, you know, let's take a quick look back at Monday. Yeah, we were talking about how it's a 10-inning game and all that, but kind of similar start. Both teams on Monday did not have a hit through 2. Then, in the bottom of the 3rd, Morton struck with a 3-run inning, 1 run in the 4th, and then 6 in the 5th, and that kind of just ended the game with a slaughter in the 5th inning. It'll be Sieben up to start things off for Morton. Morton would like to come out and answer. Sieben flew out to center his first at-bat. And that one is high. Called ball 1 on R.J. Dungeon, the man who broke the game open in last inning, the bottom of the 3rd. And that one is another that one's called strike 1 to even the count. Dungeon working fast.
Yeah, I was going to say, that was a quick pitch right there by Dungeon, kind of taking a page from Spangler's book and looking to leverage this advantage that they now have.
He's trying to catch Sieben off guard, and I mean, at a 1-2 count, Sieben just needing to get out of the zone. Sieben definitely in on the batter's box. His feet are almost on the line as that one gets to the shortstop. A throw's going to be made, but not only was the throw off, but the throw wasn't in time. Sieben gets the infield single.
That was a really hard throw to make. Honestly, he did everything he could. He was so far away from the first base, and Sieben is just such a fast, one of Morton's fastest, so.
Yeah, Sieben's got a lot of speed. And that's something that, Coach Matt Plummer of East Peoria kind of warned us about is Krutke's got the arm, but they still could test, and another pickoff attempt there. I think every time so far runner has gotten on first with nobody else on base, before a pitch gets thrown to the batter, they're checking him.
They have not been shy at all about throwing it down.
I mean, even Krutke catching one stealing last inning. Didn't catch him stealing. He picked him off. But you understand what I meant.
Another one.
Another pickoff attempt.
I haven't been keeping track, but that's 7 or 8 that we've seen just through 3 and a third innings.
Something like that.
Another ball makes this one 2-0. And that one's low. R.J. Duncan not looking too hot this at-bat. That's 3 balls, and none were close to the zone.
Got himself into a bit of a hole. Duncan is the guy who's able to dig himself out. He's got the confidence, composure to do it.
Josh, is that the 4th pickoff of this at-bat?
I think that's number 3.
Number 3.
Of this at-bat, but that is probably the 8th of the game or something like that.
Pickoffs is not one of our tallies here at Clutch Sports Media. We got a lot going on, but not keeping track of our pickoffs. That's more of a breathing opportunity.
It's not in the budget yet.
Not in the budget. Our microphone fixing Michael Savoy, maybe we'll just have to hire him to do it. However, I think he's taking some nice pictures that'll go on CSM Overtime.
Oh, yeah,
later
he's taking
tonight.
pictures, writing the game story for this one. Audio engineer. I saw him selling some hot dogs over there as well. He's been doing everything tonight.
Now, don't fib the audience.
Well, he better be taking some pictures of the base runners right now because Morton's got 2 on for the first time in this game.
It'll be for Riemann, who puts down the bunt. Duncan, easy throw over to first for out number 1 in the inning. However, runners advance, both now in scoring position for Lovell.
And this is the same scenario that we saw a minute ago, where runners on second and third, only 1 out. So this is prime opportunity here for Morton to level the game, if not take the lead.
Hudson Lovell 2 for 3 on Monday. He knows how to hit the Raiders. Let's see if he can do so here. And this one's hit hard but foul. And that one might go on to one of the other fields here at Eastside. Hopefully that one doesn't have a game going on.
There is quite a bit of timeout calling on these games, on these fields when you have multiple games going at once. Just part of the setup, but adds to the atmosphere.
That one is high and call ball 1. Eastside, the design of this place is very creative. However, the one flaw it does have is there is about 5 to 6 steps. And that pitch is going to be wild. And off of a wild pitch, Morton able to tie things up.
And those are some of those fundamental errors that will just get you time and time again at the high school level. Walks, errors, and pitches that get away are kind of the trifecta of things that you just cannot afford to have a lot of. This is just one pitch, but all of a sudden we're back tied.
Comes the 1-2. Hit hard to second. Runner stays at third, so the play is at first, and that's an out. Out number 2 there. And it'll bring up Colin Burns, who flew out to center his first at-bat on a very hard hit ball.
That type of power is exactly what Morton's looking for here. You can't afford to sack a fly. That's not in the not in play right now.
That was a little bit too high. Ball 1. And that's a called strike 1. Burns knows it, just shaking his head, making sure he just checks right back into this at-bat.
You can hear the fans getting more and more amped up.
Hard hit ball, but it'll go straight to short, and the play is in time for out number 3. Well, Morton off of a wild pitch from Duncan and Krutke, the battery duo who doesn't make too many mistakes, ties the game up at 1 here as we enter the bottom of the 4th.
And kind of the same scenario that Morton was able to do where East Peoria allows a run, but they're able to stay calm. The run was scored with 1 out, but they're able to get a nice couple of back-to-back outs right afterward and keep it to a 1-run inning, which is pretty critical at this point. We're through 4. We're already halfway through this game, and it's still a tie game. So now you're back to the same mentality that you were at the beginning. Got to make sure you're hitting that ball in play. Got to make sure you're getting runs on the board. Whichever team does that better, probably going to end up winning this game. But it's back level, and that's the key thing that Morton's going to get coming out of that top of the 4th.
Yeah, so far both teams have just been mirroring each other. In this one, it's sort of like they're hitting stuff, and both teams are just doing something. They're doing something.
They're doing something, huh, Rodrigo? They're something. I mean, they're both here. They're both playing some great ball. I mean, this is definitely unlike the 10-0 game. And not to say that the 10-0 game was a bad game for East Peoria. I mean, they had 3 shutout innings to start things off before allowing some runs. However, only having 2 hits on Monday, definitely a different scene today, as they've had 2 innings where they've had 2 hits versus a game of only 2 hits 2 days ago. And, you know, that was something that Plummer kind of talked to us about, is they had practice, things felt a lot better, and they're feeling a lot better coming into today, ready to go. Ethan Krutke, only man to strike out so far this, first strikeout. He was there's been 2 now by Spangler. He takes strike 1. And that evens the count 1 apiece.
Some more quick pitching out of the gate here by Spangler. He's very consistent in that regard.
Well, he's definitely been attacking Krutke, making him go down early in the count, but then allowing him to come back, as he struck out last time on a 2-2 count, and he has a 2-2 count here. Comes the pitch inside. I think one of those strikes that I said was actually called a ball, because that's ball 4.
Yep.
Fast walk to start the inning. That's exactly what you want if you're an East Peoria fan, just to get that first initial walk, just to set you up nicely for the rest of the game.
And that speed did not work out for Spangler on the other side of things.
Yeah.
It'll be Augie Loans now, who swings through strike 1. Loans flew out to right his first at-bat. Loans so far this season hitting .321. I mean, when you're hitting .320 and you're batting 7, you know you have a strong team. He shows bunt there, and that's going to hit the mask of the umpire, and he's going to need to take a breather here. That was called a strike, so we will have an 0-2 count on Loans.
Yeah, it's always tough to get those to the face right there. Luckily, he was wearing sun protection, so it's got to help a little bit.
Augie Loans steps back into the box. Everybody's all good. He tried bunting on that last play. It didn't work. And he takes ball 1.
That was probably a much-needed breather there for Spangler to kind of get the wheels back underneath him there. It is still 1-2, so he does still have a good opportunity to get in and out. But Good moment to kind of breathe.
It was a nice curve, however, it doesn't drop low enough, and that'll even the count at 2 apiece. Lone's one of the few sophomores in the lineup. A couple other notable ones is R.J. Duncan. So, you know, one of their three-hole, their pitcher, and then also Lone's. I mean, pretty good company. Also a sophomore in the lineup is the catcher hitting at the 9 spot tonight. It's Jackson Arns. That's ball 3, so full count here for Augie Lones. Let's see how the young first baseman handles things.
And first full count the other way. Morton has had the first 2.
That one, ball 4.
Back-to-back walks.
Can't
have those.
walks, exactly.
Cannot have those with only
not
one
at
out.
this stage, at least, with the game being tied
Now batting.
and it being so close on the mound for both teams.
And here's the wild card, Zach Hahn, somebody that Morton and Coach Jesse Crawford haven't been able to scout and don't know too well. However, one of the guys that Matt Plummer is most high on in his entire roster, who hits at the 8 spot, just fouled one into the other field. As I was trying to say before play happened last inning, I've been to a lot of parks before where there's been multiple fields. However, I've never been to a facility where the fields are as close as they are here at Eastside.
Yeah,
they're
they're very,
clover, yeah.
yeah, they're very close, and honestly, it's a lot bigger of a facility than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
I got a bit lost as we headed to the ballpark here, and
That explains a lot.
it's got 2 parking lots. that tells you a lot about how big this place is.
Let's go the wrong one.
And a called strike there. Bunt was shown, however, it was called for the pitch, not a potential swing on Hahn. And so 1-2, he should have the light to swing now instead of put the bunt down. And Spangler going to try and just step off and recollect himself here. I mean, he's got no outs with runners on first and second. He needs to be very calm in this at-bat.
Yeah, he's worked himself into a tricky situation right here. But he can get out of it. It's not over yet for him. Just needs to get another out, then you got 2 outs. And all of a sudden, it's a lot better. It's all about mentality.
Well, baseball is a game about forgetting quickly, as that one goes outside with a heater. That heater right down the middle, and it is going to be fouled off. That one hit long and far by Hahn, and that might get the Morton Potters bench to open their eyes at what kind of a player he is.
Yeah, like you mentioned, he's a bit of a wild card. The Potters didn't really know him too well. They're getting a good look at him right now, though.
Yeah, only 11 games this season for Hahn, and that's because he's one of the catcher, and so he's not able to get as much exposure behind Krutke as he looks at strike 3 for out number 1 as shortstop now Jackson Aarons to the plate.
Now batting. Number 19, Jackson Aaron.
East Peoria with their walk-up songs. Josh Rodrigo, have you had any favorites that you've heard this evening?
Well, I heard the J. Cole one like that. Diss track to Drake. It's been going on for a while now. Josh, I know you're a big fan of them.
Yes.
Can you give us
sure.
some thoughts on them?
Oh, and that's going to be a wild pitch. Both runners are going to take off in advance of base. Before the catcher was even able to get to the ball, they were able to turn and look at the next one. However, didn't want to risk. Didn't want to risk it.
On the subject of walk-up songs, that's honestly one of my favorite parts about baseball, just being able to choose what song to pick. Josh, what would be your walk-up song? I know I'm putting you a little bit on the spot. Caden, you feel free to chime in on this one if you want.
I want to hear Josh's answer first, as this one is going to be fouled back, even in the count 1 apiece. Before we move on and hear Josh's answer, Aarons did walk to start off the 3rd inning, and he was the one who was able to get all the way to 3rd and steal home to break the game open at 1-0 before Morton answered and made it the 1-1 score we have now.
It's a strike, but I've always preferred songs that are a little counterintuitive. So I would have to go with the final countdown. Because the goal in baseball, obviously, is to score runs, put points on the board. I don't know. I feel like just having the countdown in there throws people off.
You know,
Preferably the pitcher in this case.
yeah, as that one is going to be fouled off. Count will remain 1-2. I'm not crazy about the song, but Ryan Vogel for Bradley plays I'm on one or I am one, something like that, because he is number one, and he is a hitting machine. He picked up his 200th career hit, something not many collegiate players are able to do these days with the transfer portal and just with getting drafted so young. But he was able to pick up number 200 a couple days, or last couple weeks ago, and just I'm on one. It works.
You do see those players who like to choose their walk-up song to kind of represent either like their number or their last name, to kind of make those two kind of connected in a way at least. But yeah, it's always interesting.
And that one fouled back again. That's 3 straight foul balls for Aarons, who's definitely been battling this at bat.
I feel like the best walk-up songs are the strategic ones that can actually throw a pitcher off. They make you think, who in their right mind chose this? I think that's the name of the game. You got to take every advantage you can.
The chicken dance would throw me off.
Oh, if you came up to the chicken dance, Rodrigo, I think everybody would just have a couple questions. As that is called ball. I thought it was inside in a nice ball, personally, but Morton fan base thought that was strike 3 for sure.
They definitely did. Not too happy with that call. We haven't had too much complaints, though.
No, we have not, and that's always a good sign. Here comes the 2-2, and that one way outside, and that'll make the count full. So we had 3 straight foul balls, now 2 balls to make it a full count.
Another full count for Spangler. That is the second or third in this inning alone.
It's the second of this inning, the third he's had this evening. Here comes the full count pitch, and another walk, and that gets the Morton fan base to raise their voices a tad.
That's 3 walks this inning. 3.
Yeah.
Bases loaded situation, not at all what Spangler or the Morton Potters wanted in this one. Considering the game's so close, we're barely tied up at 1.
And it looks like the umpire is exchanging some words with the pitching coach of Morton. That was what the tie-up was there. And now, after Hartwell steps into the box, we're going to have a mound visit. Some mind games going on here between Morton and the umpiring crew.
Yeah, both teams going to collect themselves a little bit. Getting a good sense of what the game plan is going to be going forward. Caden, what would you be telling your guys right now?
Well, you know,
if you're Morton, of course.
Yeah, you've got 1 out. You've got runners on the corners. You want a ground ball. Because with a ground ball, you're able to either turn it to home and get a pickle, or you're able to just get the double play and get 2. A strikeout is ideal here, of course, because then you don't have to risk not being able to turn the double play. I mean, when you have Hartwell in the up, he is one of the fastest guys on the team, so a double play might not be as easy as one would presume. However, you can't really rely on the pickle at home either. A lot of laughs here tonight at Clutch Sports Media. A lot of fun we're having. It's our first baseball broadcast of the year, guys, on TV.
First video broadcast.
I said on TV.
You did.
Yeah.
You did.
I don't know why both of you guys jumped to correct me there when I wasn't wrong.
We're just clarifying.
And that's
a walk.
That's a hit by pitch, and there's going to be a lot of questions here.
East Peoria takes the lead.
Yeah, just like that, East Peoria takes the lead again.
And the umpire,
a rather unorthodox way, at least.
A lot of words exchanged there between Borden fans, between umpires, between coaches, between players. However, nonetheless, bases are loaded, and we now have a 2-1 game for Logan Hidden. 0 for 2 this afternoon.
Time-wise, this is by far the longest half inning that we've had. the rest of the game overall has been fairly quick pace, thanks
Right.
in part to some quick pitching and
Yeah.
even through a couple of hits. But
And-
this has been slow going.
And that time-wise is definitely because of how many long at-bats we've had. We've had 2 full counts. We've seen lots of foul balls. And, I mean, when you're getting worked this hard, that just takes time. And especially Spangler now trying to slow things down and pitch at a slower speed and a slower rate to try and keep his concentration and just be more cool and collected than just fire and go.
Outstanding work by these Peoria batters. Yep.
Oh yeah, because they've gotten a couple looks at Spangler already, so you can sort of predict what Spangler's going to do.
And there they stole home. I mean, Loans, and they're going to take an advantage of it. It'll be interesting to see what they call here. It is going to be a time. So for those of you who weren't able to see everything, put batter in Logan Hidden, put the bunt or Landon Hidden, put the bunt down. Then, immediately preceding the bunt, all runners took off and tried to steal their next base, which is not something you see too often. And throw was made over to first after the bunt, and it knocked out first baseman A.J. Davis, who is currently on the ground for Morton. Because of the ball being thrown, I mean, even before the ball was thrown to first, you had the runner at second in Aarons, who already rounded third to take home. However, he was largely able to be safe at home because there was no play. It's going to be very interesting to see how the umpires handle this situation. No?
If this half hasn't been crazy enough, that just put it over the top.
Well, Loans' run will score regardless. I mean, there was no play on him. And Jesse Crawford going to have some words with the umpires here.
And man, you hate to see collisions in the sport of baseball, especially when you have 2 guys running kind of the opposite way.
Yeah.
Right at the base. It's a tough situation, but
Well, some happy news for Morton's side is Spangler has a large percentage of the vote total and is officially the winner as of 8 minutes ago of the CSM Player of the Week. So congratulations to him. We'll have to make sure he knows after the game. And now it'll be time to understand or try and break down and figure out everything that's gone down.
Number 8, R.J. Duncan.
So the scoreboard says 4-1, so they are going to count the Aaron's run. Now we have 1 out. I'm sorry, 2 outs, because we already had the out earlier on in the inning, and the runner at first in Landon Hidden is out to make it 2. So we will have 2 outs. 2 runs scored on that play, so it's now a 4-1 game, and there's 1 runner on base who is standing on third as Duncan hits that one, but it's a weak foul ball, making it an 0-2 count. Well, Rodrigo and Josh, a lot to talk about this inning.
Yeah, a lot to talk about. East Peoria now leading by 3 in this one after 3 really tight innings. It's going to be interesting to see how Spangler tries to get out of this, trying to not let in any more runs. You only need 1 more out, so it's not too difficult. And East Peoria, how can you keep capitalizing on this situation?
well, it was the batters who broke the seal, but not in the way that you would think looking at the score, because they just kept drawing walks and were able to get on base not through making contact, which is fairly unusual.
Duncan with a hard hit ball. It's deep into left field, and it is caught at the warning track by Burns for out number 3. What a way to cap off the inning, boys.
That could have gone very wrong very quickly, even more so for Morton, but they were able to rein it in, and man, Burns was not far away from knocking that out of the park. Morton almost a little lucky to escape this with only 3 runs allowed, but obviously now the game is a much different territory than it was before.
Yeah, it's now going to be Morton trying to play some catch-up right now after they gave up 3 runs in that 4th inning. But Morton's the side that, they can do that. They've got the firepower. We've certainly seen it this season. to be able to come back in situations like this.
So if you're Dungeon, how are you feeling? What are you thinking?
Honestly, if I was Dungeon, I'd feel pretty good. Just because, you know, there's not that much pressure on you. You got 3 runs of a cushion to be able to, you know, make a couple light mistakes. But, you know, you just got to keep a cool, calm head. Your team's winning, and shut out the Potters, who are going to be looking to put some runs on those boards.
Yeah, for those of you who can't see, just out of your screen, it looks like one of the assistant coaches for Morton. I'm pretty confident it was it's their first base coach. I'm not sure his name. However, he just had some words with the umpire. Home plate umpire, we kind of jinxed it, guys. We talked about how nobody was complaining about the calls, and ever since then, he's received a lot of yelling from the folks in blue tonight. And it's, you know, it's sad to say, but we've come to a stage in life of sports that the umpire is typically the villain in almost every game you attend.
Yeah, I think I was reading something about this, how there's almost like an umpire shortage in the U.S. just because of how badly they're treated by parents, especially at the little league level, where, you know, parents get a little more enthusiastic about their son or daughter playing baseball or softball, and it's an unfortunate part of the game that's kind of grown itself into the sport, and umpires don't want to deal with that anymore.
Well, a very quick pitching R.J. Duncan strikes out Spangler for out number 1. Yeah, you know, I was an umpire when I was a kid. My first season, I was in 5th grade. I was, 10 years old, something around there. And Little League game, and just like you said, I made a call of a fair or a foul ball, and I had a coach who came up to me who wouldn't leave from a couple inches away from my face screaming at me, and I thought I was about to get punched in the face by a 40-year-old man, and I'm a 5th grader umpiring a 2nd grader's baseball game. It's a very hard job. It probably is the hardest job in the sport these days, especially with the media able to also put that spotlight on them when they make a call that is unfavorable to one side.
The amount of horror stories that have come out from umpires.
And that is a nice single for Owen Adams to get things started here for the Potters.
Now batting, number 21, Andrew Brooks.
It'll be Andrew Brooks back up for Morton. Brooks this afternoon 0 for 2 with a pop and a ground out to first.
Yeah, we haven't seen too much action for Brooks in this one, but he definitely has the opportunity.
And what do you know? First pitch isn't thrown at home, and it's over to first for a pickoff move.
We've seen a couple of those, right, Caden?
Josh, what's our tally at these days?
Oh, I wish I had been keeping track, but I think we're at a dozen total.
There
Give
you
or
go.
take.
I mean, it's just something that Matt Plummer and his squad came into this game ready to do, was check the runners and make sure that they feel them being watched. 2-0 count here for Dungeon.
Well, mission accomplished, because the runner is about 5 feet off of the bag right now.
And he gets thrown at despite being 5 feet off the bag.
They're committed. They're really committed to checking it down to first right here.
Well, and especially when you have Kretke, one of the best catchers at catching people stealing in the Mid-Illini. And that one's going to pluck him, go all the way back, and it's going to get a lot of cheers from Morton, as well as an aggressive bat throw from Brooks.
Well, we talked a little bit earlier about the fact that these two teams are kind of mirroring each other.
And
seeing some more similarities here with only 1 out on the board and a couple of runners already on base here, including a hit by pitch, which we saw last night.
Yeah, and it looks like head coach Matt Plummer going to go talk to his guys. He has an hand on the back of his starter, R.J. Duncan. You know, he kind of talked to me about how Duncan's earned the starting role. He's been working and just getting better and better, and just earned the job of the day 2 starter. I mean, he's had a great game tonight.
Oh, yeah, it's been a pretty good game from Duncan, and this must just be a sort of
Well, this is a calm down meeting. This is
calm
you need to
down,
take a breath. You were working fast early on. Now you got 2 runners on, so you need to slow your pace. And you just need to throw some strikes and let your defense work.
Tyler Pippin.
Yeah, you only have one runner in scoring position, so game isn't too bad for Duncan, who Scott already has an out. Just needs one more, then another one. Then you get out of this one.
Well, ball was on the field there, so we had to call time to clear it for safety, and that one is fouled back by Pippin, making it an 0-1 count. Pippin this afternoon 0 for 2 with a fly out to left and a looking strikeout. Again, another one of these Morton batters whose toes are on the line in the batter's box, definitely crowding inside. And called strike makes it 0-2. We're in the top of the 4th. Top of the 5th inning here in East Peoria at the East Side Sports Complex. A beautiful night for baseball, guys. I mean, we're wearing me and Rodrigo are in short sleeves. Josh over there, nice lawn sleeve shirt. He's a little bit more prepared for a breeze that didn't come.
I'm ready for this to go long into the night. These two teams are very tough opponents, and this game, as we've seen, can just get longer and longer. And I'm ready. I'm ready to go the distance.
Well, when we got here, it was pretty nice. I think you said it was like 72 degrees, something like that. It's cooled down a little bit. Certainly starting to feel a little bit of that, but it's still a really nice day for some baseball.
And the weather is, drum roll, 67. I think I beat Josh to it.
You did.
Yes, I did. Josh over at the
disappointing.
other end was trying to beat me, but my device was already out as I'm have some stats on right in front of me and was just able to open the weather app. As 2 straight balls will get a full count here. And both sides are just going to take a nice breather before the full count pitch. And Morton starts their clapping, trying to get in Duncan's head. Last time they attempted this, it resulted in a looking strikeout by the guy at the plate right now in Pippin. They start the clapping again. Duncan stepped off there, trying to check his runner at second. The pitch, and swung on and missed. Another strikeout for Pippin. And out number 2 in the inning.
Crowd loved that one, as I'm sure our mics picked up a little bit of that Nat sound. Morton Potters fans, I mean, East Peoria fans loved that one. Morton Potters fans, they didn't like that one too much.
Not too much of a fan, though.
And this is where the game split. The similarities between these two teams split because Morton was in trouble. It's allowed several runs there with 1 out. East Peoria is able to get a critical second.
That was a fastball and a half on Sieben, but regardless, swung on and tipped. Strike 1. So far this afternoon, he's 1 for 2 with a single his last time up, and that one, a beautiful curveball that just drops into the zone for a called strike 2.
That was one of the better pitches I've seen tonight. That absolutely just floated until it didn't.
You could hear a grunt from Duncan there, however, a little bit outside on the fastball makes it 1-2. He tried to put everything he had to that one.
And
that's strike 3, and you can see the energy from R.J. Duncan, who is fired up after that strikeout.
oh, he's loving the night so far. He's having a great game, some great pitches out there. He's doing exactly what East Peoria needs, and it's just some good, nice, clean pitches. No damage on the board, at least for a couple of innings now. Morton Potters were able to get 1 run back in the top of the 3rd. Bottom of the 3rd. No, top of the 3rd. Yes, top of the 3rd.
Well, we are now entering the bottom of the 5th. For those of you who weren't joined with us in the bottom of the 4th, East Peoria was able to score 3, and it wasn't a very pretty 3 that they scored. The first one was a hit by pitch that was questioned by the Morton coaches that brought in the first. Then bunt got placed down with a full bases loaded that scored 2 after a collision at first base. So a lot of just
Now batting, number 6.
unforeseen circumstances, we'll phrase it, for Morton to get or to allow 3 runners and break the game open at 4-1, where we currently are sitting.
Yeah, it was an unfortunate inning for Morton. We're going to look to keep things within reach, at least for their batters.
Kurt Sosnowski swings through strike 1. He is 2 for 2 today. And, you know, Kurt, one of the best players in the Peoria area. He was named to the 2023 Baseball Central Illinois team by the Peoria Journal-Star last season. This season, Sosnowski in his senior year hitting .414 and still uncommitted. However, definitely going to play some college baseball somewhere if that's the path he chooses. He grounds out to third.
Oh, both these teams have a lot of players who could definitely make some strides in the collegiate game. You have a couple ICC commits, Illinois Central College,
Now batting,
which
number 9. Owen.
Morton, they're one of the teams who's actually who has a couple players, former players playing in the collegiate game. Bo Durbin for Bradley was a Morton Potter at one point.
A lot of Mid-Illini alumni that go straight into college ball, especially local ICC, Bradley, Illinois State, places like that. So definitely a pipeline of sorts.
1-1 count here for Owen Hidden. The younger brother who bats 5th is 0 for 2 this evening as he watches that curve drop into the zone for strike 2. You know, Mid-Illini, a very tough division. You know, something that I'm pretty sure Jesse Crawford was the one who said pregame is Pekin might only have 3 wins, but they're the best team in the state that has 3 wins. As this one's a ground ball to first for out number 2. It just shows you the depths of the Mid-Illini and why tonight's game is such an important battle, because a win for East Peoria puts themselves back in it, puts Dunlap back on top, and makes it go from Morton, Dunlap, East Peoria to back to Dunlap on top and then Morton, East Peoria. However, East Peoria taking the loss nearly eliminates them from finishing number 1 in the Mid-Illini.
Yeah, we talked a little bit there in the beginning about how what an important matchup this was for both teams, especially for East Peoria, who struggled a little bit in that first game on Monday against the Potters, but so far in this one they've looked a lot better, a lot more confident. They're an aggressive team, but they're also smart.
And no swing called by the umpire, so it'll be a 2-1 count on Krutke, who is 0 for 1. However, he also walked in his last at-bat. Nice eye from the catcher. I mean, you should expect that from your catcher, as count is now 3-1. Spangler taking an extra breather here on this pitch, and this one's hit very hard, but it's foul by a lot. I mean, that was probably on the other field, but in the other field's outfield, which to hit a ball that far and that hard, especially at the high school level, is not seen too often. That one's nice curve, but it's tipped foul.
You know, something different that Spangler's doing this inning is, unlike the previous 4 innings, he started not that fast. He started a little bit slower and kind of settled into it, and he's been able to knock down 2 batters pretty quickly here, and then he started ramping it up, and that's exactly what has put him in a good spot here.
Umpire requesting a different baseball than the ones he had in his pocket, so Morton having to open up a couple new ones and bring it over to the pitcher. And that is called ball 4. Krutke works his second walk of the evening. It starts a 2-out rally in a sense for East Peoria.
Krutke's the guy who started it all off back in the 4th inning for East Peoria. He was the first walk, so this could be a little sign that things are going to change for East Peoria and they're going to get a couple more runs.
Augie Loans takes strike one. He is also 0 for 1 today with a walk.
I'll be interested to see how Spangler responds. In the last inning, he didn't respond well to that first walk. If he can turn it around and get his 3rd out, that's huge.
That ball will even the count 1 apiece. Runner on first in Krutke. Here comes the pitch, and it is a called strike, a little high on Augie Loans. Loans at first today. He DH'd on Monday when the two teams met. And Krutke gonna take off. However, doesn't matter as that was a swinging strike 3 for out number 3.
And that's exactly what I wanted to see out of Spangler right there. Is an excellent way to take what happened in the inning before, to come back from that and turn what potentially could be another dangerous situation into a really nice save. And he maintains the gap. Doesn't lose any, but maintains the gap here, entering the bottom of the 5th.
Well, 5 innings pitched, 4 strikeouts. I had it reversed there. For Spangler and Morton. Look at the other side. And 5 innings pitched with only 2 strikeouts for Duncan. However, Duncan has the upper hand tonight, only giving up 1 run compared to a couple more on Morton's side. Well, Morton doesn't have too much more time to make a comeback this afternoon or this evening. Entering the top of the 6th now, they will have their 4, 5, 6 in Cal, Booker, Riemann, and Lovell. And, something that we kind of talked about with the coaches, and we probably mentioned throughout the game, is when you're able to have some hitters hitting in these spots who have had such successful seasons, it shows how successful your team has been and how deeply loaded your roster is.
Now batting, number 5, Nolan Ryman.
I believe the rest of the games around the complex here have wrapped up for the day. So this is officially the nightcap as we draw to a close here in the 6th.
Yeah, we got a little...
The PA did announce Nolan Riemann, but it is Cal Booker. They just skipped his name on the PA, so if you heard that on our mic, want to confirm that it is Cal Booker who just took ball 2.
So if you're Booker, you got to get the ball in play. You got to make contact of any sort here. And if you're Morton, you really got to get on base to start, and you can't afford a couple outs.
But you're more than welcome with taking a 4-pitch walk, which is what Cal Booker does there. He's 1 for 1 today, with that being his 2nd walk of the evening.
That is the only exception for making contact.
A base runner. A base runner sometimes is a little bit more valuable, and that will do it for R.J. Duncan. His night is over, and Matt Plummer is going to bring in some relief help. I can't see the number yet on who is coming in. 15. It'll be Corbin Parker for the Raiders. Parker this season on the mound. Hey, this is only his 2nd appearance all season. The junior has currently currently holds a 0 ERA in his 1 appearance, and will have to do some damage. Or did Corbin Parker come into field for somebody? Because I don't think that's Parker warming up.
No, I think it might be Augie Loans.
Is it 34? His back has not come towards us, so.
It looks like 34 on
It
the
is
screen.
34.
It is 30. So it is Augie Loans. You're correct. My apologies. This is his 7th appearance. Augie Loans' 7th appearance so far this season. He's boasted a 165 ERA and a 6-0 record as a starter. Only his 8th appearance this season and the 2nd he's came out of the bullpen. Augie Loans so far this evening has been over at first base. And now, he played DH on Monday, first base earlier this game, and now he's on the mound to try and get 6 outs and without allowing 3 to get East Peoria win and send Morton home with only their 2nd Mid-Illini loss. So,
Yeah, he's good as a fielder, but he's also really good as a pitcher. He pitched a complete game shutout against Springfield a couple weeks ago. 9 strikeouts in that game. So he's a guy who can definitely get some outs for you, and especially in this situation that East Peoria finds itself with a 3-run advantage.
That was a long time ago. We had one super sketchy moment, and that's gonna find us. Okay, all right, yeah, no, you're good. I'll make sure.
called strike there for Riemann. You could tell that R.J. Dunchman's game was done when he came in the top of the 5th. I mean, he had some great work today. However, he kind of came out and threw 4 balls, and he just looked gassed.
Yeah.
I mean,
Oh, definitely. He had a couple really good innings, a couple good strikeouts for him tonight. But that first at-bat against Cal was just not great, not at the level that he would like to be at, and that's why Loans is right now in for East Peoria.
well, 2-2 pitch for Loans versus Riemann. That'll be ball 3 and make the count full on Loans' first batter. Riemann this evening 0 for 2 with a fly out to center and a ground ball to the pitcher. And the clapping for Morton starts. And it doesn't get in the head of Augie Loans as that fastball in the corner forces a swing and miss for strike 3.
Can't have a better start if you're Loans coming into this one. Already your first strikeout. Looking for a couple more here.
Hudson Lovell 0 for 2 this afternoon. He popped out to first and grounded out to second as Augie Loans does the traditional Raiders pickoff attempt at first to start a new batter. Josh, our number?
14.
You made that up, didn't you?
I made that up.
And that's ball 1 low for Augie Loans against Lovell.
14 does sound about right, though, to be honest.
It's close.
It's close,
It's
yeah.
almost certainly not dead on. But it's over a dozen, which is remarkable.
Interesting to see that transcend pitchers. Goes to show you the pitching staff. It's got a good influence on these guys.
That one's going to be ball 3. No, yeah, ball 3 low. And that's a 4-pitch walk for Lovell, and that'll put runners on first and second with 1 out for Colin Burns, who in the last 2, on Monday, 1 for 1 with a walk. Today, 0 for 2 with a fly out to center and a ground out to short. And since Lovell is the catcher, he's going to get his courtesy runner.
Now batting, number 34, Colin Burns.
Burns has had some power foul balls in this game. He's hit a couple really far, a little bit like that, although that one was a
That's
little bit
another
more
one,
fouled
yeah.
back. But he has the capability to change this game with 2 on.
Which is exactly what the Morton Potters need right now. Still down by 3. Burns coming in, someone who has a lot of power behind that bat. Runner on second. Nice little homer right here would work wonders for the Potters.
That's a swing and a miss for strike 2. He definitely has the home run swing behind him. It's a matter of can he make contact with a good enough pitch to get out. And that's a called strike 3. Augie Loans has 2 outs, both of them with a K, tying RJ Dungeon's strikeout in total of the day at 2. Difference is, one of them has faced 3 batters and gotten 2 outs. The other pitched 5 innings.
A little bit of a difference.
But what's critical is that he hasn't allowed contact yet.
Correct. He's allowed foul balls, but nothing in play.
Yeah, he did walk the one runner, but overall, a spectacular start.
Good job, Tiz.
It's a ball to start the at-bat for Spangler. The, now we can say, player of the week in Central Illinois is 1 for 2 with a single. Clutch Sports Media Player of the Week presented by Domino's. As that's ball 2 on Spangler. A nice eye for him this afternoon.
I could go for some Domino's right now. I don't know about you guys.
Yeah, my brother would order some Domino's after hearing me say that. And there is strike 1 to make it a 2-1 count.
A very tense situation here because either way, you're going to be looking good on outs or you're going to be allowing another runner on base.
That pitch was on the border. The umpire gives it to Augie as we now have a 2-2 even count between Spangler and Loans.
He's pitched well, but it only takes one pitch potentially to tie the game.
2-2. And it hits back up the middle. Second baseman going to take it and step on second for out number 3. The Raiders allowed 2 to get on base, however, shut both of them down.
Well done right there by Loans to come in under that pressure and in that scenario and be able to deliver for the most part. He only allowed the 1 walk. And at the end of the day, that is about as good of a relief attempt as you can have in a high-stakes game like this.
And it looks like we do have a new pitcher for Morton. Noah Spangler's day is done, and it is the ball.
Looks like number 17.
The ball is in the hands of Jack Mitchell. If that's 17, I think that's a 12. Is it 17 or 12?
Yeah, it looks like a 12 now.
Yeah,
that's a 12.
that is 12. So the ball's in the hands of Noah Suttles, which makes a little bit more sense as I was given his pitching stats I was given very select stats by Coach Crawford before the game. Very appreciative of the stats. However, he gave me the highlights instead of trying to give me the whole packet. And one of the highlights was Noah Suttles, who in 8 games, 29.2 innings pitched, has allowed a under 1.5 ERA off of nearly 40 strikeouts. I mean, when you pitched under 30 games and you have 37 strikeouts, do your math at home, folks, but you're averaging more than a strikeout an inning.
Yeah, he's got a big responsibility in this one to not allow any more damage, to give the Potters a good chance of coming back in this one.
What's more, if he can force a quick inning and turn it back over to Loans on the other side, then that'll put Morton on that'll leave Morton with a bigger advantage heading into their last opportunity of this game.
Well, the wild card has been not as successful as Matt Plummer would have liked this afternoon, as Zach Hahn's 0 for 2, and this one should be an easy pop-up as Morton has 2 underneath it, and the shortstop out there in Owen Adams able to call off and make the catch for out number 1.
Great start. 1 pitch, 1 out.
Yeah, not much.
That's the definition of quick.
Yeah. Especially when you're Noah Suttles, you want to be able to come in and you want to just get the first out. You don't want to go down early because then you're in your head. This is another foul ball, except this one will be very far out of play and will be strike 1. There's a pitch. Some nice movement there. However, the umpire thought it was a little high, and that evens the count 1 apiece. Hard hit ball. Umpire calls foul. That one straddled the line the entire way. It broke right at the base, and the blue says foul.
That would have been a dangerous one if it would have stayed fair. Unfortunately for East Peoria, it didn't.
Here comes the pitch, and it's hit hard in the left field underneath it, and caught for the Potters for out number 2 with Noah Burns. Colin Burns.
Nice and easy for the Potters fielders. This is the type of play that they were seeing in those first couple of innings, where it was just fly ball after fly ball.
Well, the top of the order is back up for East Peoria with Dave Hartwell, the ICC commit, is going to take or earn strike 1. So far this afternoon, he is 0 for 2, as well as getting hit by a pitch, and he gets plunked again in the head. That's the second time Hartwell's been hit today. Might need to get him an ice bath and make sure he's feeling okay in the dugout in the car ride home.
By 2 separate pitchers, no less.
Two separate pitchers, exactly. Yeah, he's. I don't know why he's attracting these balls. I don't know.
Well, Matt Plummer, who's been coaching third base, wants to have a word with Landon Hidden before he comes to the plate here, and he is going to. I think he's going to take Hidden. Is he pinch hitting for Hidden? He wants Plummer's made a change, but I can't tell yet if it's for Hidden or if it's for the runner at first. And it is going to be for Hidden. Logan Hidden's night is done. And what number do we see? It's number 7.
Yep.
And it'll be Winston Shoup. Interesting to see the 4-hole. I'm sorry, sorry, he's playing second, so I have 4 on my roster sheet. Interesting to see the 2-hole in your lineup getting pinch hit for. I mean, Landon Hidden so far this season hitting .289. He hasn't had a great day today, going 0 for 3. As this one's hit hard, and a diving play by Morton for the catch. Oh my goodness, boys! Andrew Brooks robs a clear hit.
What a catch by Brooks. I thought I was watching an Olympic diving competition with a type of dive like that.
And the importance of that is that's a significant play in the context of this game, because that's an extra base hit, potentially a triple depending on which way the ball bounces, and they allow no runs in that inning.
Not only does all of that, I can't agree more with any of that, but that has a different fuel and a different motivation and a different fire for the team, as they now have their 9, 1, and 2 holes, including Brooks, who will bat second this inning as long as no changes are made, here in the top of the 7th, where top of the 7th, it's the last at-bats you get unless if you are going to force some extras. That's the kind of play that changes the momentum, heats up your offense, and gets you ready to go here and make some damage and have a comeback.
Momentum is intangible, yet it is one of the biggest factors in baseball and sports as a whole. So to be able to come out of there with that catch and to be able to turn it around right into a string of batters that Coach talked about being very proud of and that East Peoria should be very wary of, this is an optimal situation in this situation for Morton.
Yeah, like Casey's slice of pizza, it just fuels you up for the next inning and gets you going for this one.
Me and Josh didn't like that one. We're looking at each other.
Here's
and
the pitch.
Strike 1. Owen Adams to the plate this afternoon. He's 1 for 2. And, being the 9-hole, you would think a pinch hit could have came. However, on Monday, he hit 2 for 2 with an RBI. So somebody who in his last 4 at-bats has 3 hits. And he takes strike 2 there to make the count 1-2. Fouls that one. Staying alive and fighting. Augie Loans in his second inning of work. wants to just get his 3 outs and go home without any fancy schmancy damage.
Oh, he's ready to go home.
Good work, twos.
And Augie Loans wants to see a check or not. Umpires didn't initially think they'd ask for it, but have to call the no swing, as that evens the count to apiece. And that one trails a little bit. It looks like it was going to be a strike. However, it trailed outside just at the last second, making a full count and a walk.
He went too fast.
Things starting off early. Josh, you want to expand on your point a little bit?
Loans was just he was trying to get the batter off guard. He was trying to just push the pace too much, and he just hung that last ball. And it's going to cost him runner on in Morton's last opportunity to tie or take the lead.
Do you think it was a little frantic from Loans, who had been pretty composed in this one? Now Krutke's going to have a little chat with his pitcher on the mound.
East Peoria's crowd has gone pretty quiet here. They're very nervous. They know that Morton, with the top of their lineup, are a very dangerous team. Brooks especially. He is their leadoff hitter. He is a very powerful hitter. However, he has not had a hit against East Peoria this season. He's been hit by a pitch as he fouls this one away and out of play. As I was saying, he's been hit by a pitch tonight. However, in his 5 at-bats between the 2 games against East Peoria, he has not yet recorded a ball. He hasn't gotten on base. And it did hit the rope on the pole. Our camera operator wanted to make sure that I mentioned that. So some nice placement there, even on a foul ball for Brooks. And looks at strike 2. One and 2 count for Loans. The pitch is called low, and a sigh there from East Peoria.
He hasn't thrown to first yet. Loans is
This is a momentous occasion. I think we need standing up claps all around, as this is a foul ball out of play. Brooks gonna show why he's the one-hole hitter and fight till the end this at bat.
Yeah, you kind of mentioned a little bit of the top of the order for Morton. Now, they haven't really popped off. From looking at the first 3, Saban's really the only one who's been able to get a hit, as he got a single in the top of the 4th. That's really been it. A hit by pitch, strikeout, and a couple flyouts.
Count is full, and it's a pop-up to right, and it's caught for out number 1 by Joe Clark. Haven't heard his name much, as he is the one that's been DH for this evening.
Hello, guys. I thought you guys were going to bring me up in this conversation, but I've been instructed by Jonathan Michael to bring this microphone to my hands and have a historic 4-person broadcast.
This is Michael Savoy, our photographer for the night.
I am the photographer.
And the claimed hot dog salesman by Rodrigo Perez.
Oh, yeah, you were selling some hot dogs, right?
I was selling some hot dogs, yes.
We can't put our other Clutch Sports member here, Patrick, because he is a little bit too big of an East Peoria fan. And an error by the left fielder advances the runners. It was an easy single, however. Ball was bobbled out there by Hahn. Again, his primary position is catcher. He was forced into the lineup today by putting himself in, or by going to left field, a position he's not used to. Bobbled the ball, and it advances runners both into scoring position here for Morton. This is the best opportunity to strike, and they need to strike.
It's now or never for Morton. You got to get some runs on the board now, or it's going to be really tough with only 1 more out left, as they have 2 right now.
2 runners in scoring position.
Sieben takes ball 1.
This is probably the most important point in the game right now. Aguilones right here. This is a very important batter.
And ball's fouled to make it 1 apiece.
I base it here, it makes things very interesting. You're assuming that 2 runners will score, 2 runners in scoring position. So if this batter capitalizes here, it's very interesting.
Sieben 1 for 3 this afternoon. As he takes ball 2. And here comes the pitch. Count even at 2 as he swings through that one. That was a fastball from Loans, if I do say so.
It was a nice one. I like that one.
The 2-2. And it's fouled off. Sieben definitely a fighter and trying to prove such in this at-bat. You know, Landon Hidden, to go back, he got pinch hit for in the bottom of the 6th. He's an ICC commit. You know, it's hard to see a guy like that get pulled from their at-bats. And, I mean, I'm not saying that would have changed too much of the aspect of this game. However, with 2-2 and a 3-run deficit with both runners in scoring position and 1 out, it changes something. Augie Loans, however, fueled up, gets his 3rd strikeout of the game as Sieben swings through that one for out number 2. Well, it'll now be Cal Booker. Cal Booker has the chance to either end or extend Morton's night as he takes ball 1. That had some movement on the pitch, however, did not drop into the zone. Booker gotten on base all 3 at-bats this evening. He singled in the 2nd and has 2 walks to precede it as that pitch evens the count at 1.
Loans is going fast.
Loans is known for has been going fast all evening, and sometimes that's costed him some hits and walks. Other times that's gotten the hitter nervous as, you know, a very, very late swing there from Booker fouling that one off. 1-2.
Yeah, the Potters grasp on this one is well.
And fastball, but on the pass ball didn't get too, we have a very deep backstop here, however, did not get very far away from Ethan Krutke at all. And when you look at an ICC commit, a letter winner, one of the top catchers in the Mid-Illini, you're not going to want to steal on him when the ball is that close. This one, however, you might want to steal on as it bounces all the way back to me. And run scores. We now have a 4-2 game with a runner on 3rd.
I was just about to compliment Krutke on keeping that ball from getting too far away on the last pitch. Wasn't able to do the same thing. Bounced too high, and Morton capitalizes.
Yeah, and, you know, he's human too. He's going to have some mistakes once in a while. You can't be perfect in the game of baseball.
Jesse Crawford, the coach for Morton, said to us before the game, it's high school baseball. Who has more errors and who has less errors and who has more walks typically wins. And on that, swing and a miss from Cal Booker. A fired up East Peoria crowd, thanks to their fired up pitcher, Augie Loans, wins the game 4-2.
East Peoria really wanted this one. Their fans really wanted this one. They've been, after that 10-0 running they had on Monday, they wanted to get this one, and that's what they got today.
Really impressive performance there by East Peoria to get that back after what happened on Monday and be able to hang in there. They didn't panic when they were in a couple of bad positions throughout the game, and this is a result that matters significantly for the Mid-Illini standings. East Peoria in a much better position. Morton gets dragged back into that battle for first, and it's really a 3-man fight to the end. East Peoria looking great.
Yeah, and unless if I'm mistaken, thanks to East Peoria, Dunlap retakes first place in the Mid-Illini.
Yeah, I mean, Josh, you hit it right on the head about the standings-wise in Mid-Illini, what this means for East Peoria. They split the season series against these Potters. 2 really good teams in 3A, 2 state-ranked teams in 3A. They're going to see each other a lot in the playoffs. Yeah, just very important win for East Peoria, and like you said, Caden, about Dunlap retaking first place. That is the case. Even though Dunlap did lose to Camden the other night, which is a big shocker, they're still playing good baseball. So I'm sure you guys covered the Mid-Illini in the open about how deep it is, how talented it is. There's no shortage of good baseball in that conference.
Well, and like even both coaches said, the 8 seed can beat the 1 seed in the Mid-Illini any day of the week. Look back at history. Last season, these 2 teams split in the regular season. This year, they split in the regular season. Last year, Morton able to go in and take the win in the regional championship against East Peoria. And both these teams are very playoff ready. Both these teams came in saying this is a playoff preparation game, and both these teams knew that this is going to be a fun one. And we're going to make it a 5-man booth now.
Jonathan Michael, everybody.
I think this is officially a Clutch Sports Media record. 5 wide in the booth. What a nice day of baseball, right? I mean, 2 high-level teams here in the Mid-Illini. I mean, you knew that East Peoria was going to come out with a vengeance after losing 10-0 on Monday, and you guys said it. Anything could happen in the Mid-Illini. This was a big game, but this race is far from over. There's still Dunlap in the mix, Washington in the mix. You never know if, Metamore or Limestone gets hot. They might find themselves, maybe not at the top, but, maybe in the top 3 or 4. It is a really, really fun conference this year, and really looking forward to what both teams have in store the rest of the way through the regular season.
Yeah, and I mean, when you look at East Peoria, we kind of talked about how Morton has to go play 2 against Dunlap next week. That's the 1 and the 2 seed that go against each other. Now that East Peoria got this win, they play teams only in the bottom half as of today in the Mid-Illini the rest of the season. So, not saying that any Mid-Illini game is easy, but when you have the 1 and the 2 seed going against each other, somebody has to lose. And that means East Peoria, as long as they're able to pick up some wins, will rise. And that's thanks to their win tonight. Because if they went to 4 losses, that wouldn't have been able to happen.
Yeah, certainly. And, again, like we said, any game in the Mid-Illini is not a given. Even last week, a team that hadn't won a conference game in Canton beat a team that hadn't lost a conference game in Dunlap. So, that's the thing about baseball. It's so much different than, maybe high school football, maybe high school basketball, right? Because, even if it's the top team in the conference and the bottom team in the conference, the outcome is still very much in doubt. That's the reason they play the game. And we saw a good one here tonight in front of a great crowd with some great weather and, some, great company here in the booth as well. I was up on doing camera for the entire game, but heard all of it, and think you guys did a great job, and obviously a great game as well.
Thank you. It was a very enjoyable game. All right, there's 5 of us in the booth, so I'm going to do something I don't normally ask. Does anybody have anything else they'd like to add before we go off air? There's 5 of us, so I don't want to cut it off without somebody having the last word.
I think my biggest takeaway of the game was just the composure that we saw out of East Peoria. That's an absolutely clutch characteristic that you need to have going into the playoffs, and that's exactly what we saw from the Raiders tonight. Bodes really well. They were able to come back from a tough loss on Monday and deliver just an absolute stellar performance. Only 2 runs allowed against Morton, who had an 8-game winning streak entering tonight. Huge, huge win.
I will add this, actually, because I did broadcast East Peoria at Dunlap the other night, and I saw one thing out of East Peoria that game was that they struggled to hit runners in from scoring position. Tonight they had their chances. Sometimes they want to get them in, but for the most part, they were able to capitalize on runners in scoring position, and that's why they won this game.
We've talked about this throughout the whole broadcast, just how stacked the Mid-Illini is this season with your Washingtons, your Dunlaps, your East Peorias, your Mortons, and how difficult it is to get a win. For East Peoria, who's been, I don't want to really say struggling a little bit, but they haven't been getting those 8, 7-game win streaks in a while now. To get this one is just going to be huge as we head into playoff seasons.
Certainly, and real quick, again, I'll hop in with one last thing. Again, you guys all talk about East Peoria. I'm going to talk about Morton as well. That's a very good team, very well-coached team. Both these teams are very well-coached, I should say. And, Morton was, one of the hottest teams, if not the hottest team in the area coming into tonight. You just don't really beat a team like East Peoria 10-0, and come in with that momentum. Obviously, this loss will take some wind out of their sails, but it's been remarkable what the Potters have been able to do this year, especially without losing their ace. They lost their ace, Tate Rowley, who's now playing for Bradley, and a couple of years ago, obviously, they have Bo Durbin, who is also playing for Bradley, did some big things. So Morton is not a team, they're a program, and they just continue to refill on talent. They had some top-level players last year. They've been able to, reload this year with some players that have really, put together some good seasons, and it's a well-balanced team across the board. So that's just my take on the Potters. Obviously, major props to the Raiders as well. I want to give them credit. They played some very good ball this season as well.
Yeah, 10-0 win on Monday. They played actually yesterday, Galesburg. East Peoria had the day off. Morton took a 45-minute drive and got a 13-6 win. So having 26 runs in 2 games and then only 2 tonight doesn't really – it should say something, but it really doesn't when you look at how powerful this team is and how consistent and strong they've played throughout the season. They will definitely bounce back from this. However, they now have to go next week after this loss and play Dunlap, who is a very, very powerful team.
I was just gonna add, we need to talk about R.J. Duncan. I mean, the sophomore, he's unbelievable as a sophomore. I mean, I talked to the Dunlap coach Eric Stone, and all he told me was that this kid is really good as a sophomore right now. Just imagine if he's a senior. I mean, this kid's got it all. He pitched a really good game tonight. He's got a really good slide piece, so he can do it really all. He has a good fastball, good slide piece. He pitched with the game I broadcasted with Robert Brown against Dunlap, and he had the same thing going for him. So, really good pitcher. And really good hitter, too. His 3-hole for this really good East Peoria Raiders team.
Well, that'll do us for us tonight here at Eastside Sports Complex. The East Peoria Raiders gets the 4-2 win over the Morton Potters. I'm Caden Sexton alongside Rodrigo Perez, Joshua Messenger, Michael Savoy as of the 7th inning, Jonathan Michael, who was on camera the whole game and joined us here for a post-game talk. Thank you for listening to us at Clutch Sports Media. We hope you enjoyed tonight's coverage.